Greetings, John here with a look at Heavy Rain, now on PlayStation 4. As one of PlayStation 3's most interesting exclusives, Heavy Rain seems like a great candidate for a remaster. After all, the original game was beautiful, but screen tearing and frame rate issues were always at odds with its cinematic aspirations. Now, 6 years on, Heavy Rain is reborn on PlayStation 4 with beautifully remastered visuals, improved performance, and some rather unexpected issues, which we'll touch on shortly. So let's get down to it. This is the Heavy Rain we all know, running on PlayStation 3. It is a lovely game, but it also suffers from some noticeable screen tearing issues that detract from the presentation. It's kind of hard to overlook these issues when the game is trying so hard to play out like a film. Which is why the boost in performance is precisely what excites us the most about the PlayStation 4 version. It is still 30 frames per second, of course, but the game now offers a completely stable level of performance. Crowd scenes and other demanding sequences now run without a hitch on PS4, which ensures that players are never abruptly pulled out of the experience. But wait, there's more! At first glance, Heavy Rain on PS4 looks just like we remembered. But once we actually viewed the two versions side by side, it quickly became apparent that a lot of effort has been poured into this release. As we saw with Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection, it would appear that the team went back and remade nearly every texture in the game. Surfaces now sport fine details that were lacking on PlayStation 3, while skin and hair appear much more realistic than before. The overall game has a much crisper, more pleasing look to it on PlayStation 4. Some of the game's models have even been enhanced with extra geometry. Look at the shirt collar in this scene, for instance. Beyond that, ambient occlusion has also been implemented here, which helps give the world extra depth, and lighting has been tweaked in a number of scenes. There are a lot of refinements here that definitely add to the Heavy Rain experience. But there are a few minor things missing. Check out the motion blur used here on PlayStation 3, for instance. This same sequence on PS4 lacks the same level of blur used in the original game. Yeah, it's a minor thing, no doubt, but the removal of any effect is always disappointing in a remaster. Unfortunately, this isn't the only thing that disappoints in what is an otherwise impressive effort. For instance, we have the pre-rendered videos. On PlayStation 3, most of the game was rendered in real time, but there were certain scenes where video clips were used instead. Perhaps this was used to hide loading, or display something that was too complex for the real-time engine. Well, these same scenes are present on PS4, and in comparison, they leave a lot to be desired. Macro blocking is now extremely evident here, while screen tearing and judder manages to pop in as well. When placed against otherwise perfect performance of the game during real-time sections, this oversight feels rather sloppy, especially considering that these same scenes on PlayStation 3 are cleaner and play back more smoothly. There's another issue with this remaster that we did not expect: bugs. When we first started the game, for instance, we were met with this. Yeah, definitely not good. But we tried to press on regardless, and it got stranger. Animations played back at a very low frame rate, while text continued to flash just like the main menu. Then we looked out the window and noticed that the particles were continuing to move at the correct speed. Very, very strange. So we spoke to someone else covering the game, and confirmed that they also ran into this problem on first boot. That's not to say this will occur for every user, but it's not a good sign. So after doing a full reboot of the PS4, the game did manage to fix itself and we were on our way. Unfortunately, this was not an isolated incident. A short while later, while trying to fix dinner for Sean, we ran into this. Just after we attempted to close the refrigerator, Ethan warped over to this chair in this position. He then sat there vibrating with the pizza clipping through his left leg for several minutes. We twiddled the sticks and pressed buttons, but nothing could free Ethan from the grasp of the frozen pizza. So we reloaded our save and had to begin the entire sequence over again. Then, not long after this, Ethan warped again while trying to walk towards the front door. Oh, and how about this?
You do. You've got something to hide.
So while we were always able to proceed after reloading our save, this sort of sloppiness really feels out of place in a remaster, especially when we never ran into such problems on PlayStation 3. I think we're going to need a patch here. So ultimately that's what we have with Heavy Rain on PlayStation 4. Clearly a lot of work has been poured into this remaster, and when it works, it looks and plays better than the original version. This should be the definitive version of Heavy Rain. Unfortunately, these weird bugs and glitches that we ran across feel completely out of place in what should be the ultimate version of Heavy Rain. That doesn't mean it's not worth a look, but you should go into it expecting a few problems now and then. Anyways, that wraps up this video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this is John, signing off.
His name. What was his name?
Jason! 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 Jason!